Hello, my name is Kevin and I'm delighted to welcome you to the first ever video on this, my brand new channel, Gratifi. Today I'm going to present to you my new car, which I purchased recently from a local garage here in southwest France. Now, given the fact that I haven't had too much time to learn all the features of the car, today's presentation is going to be a relatively short one, but I will walk you around the exterior of the vehicle, then we'll do a tour of the interior and I'll point out its key features. Now, as I said, I haven't had the car for too long, but I will be doing a more detailed overview as I get to spend more time with the car, and that I'll upload to the channel. So I'll take the opportunity now to invite you to subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button just underneath this video, and don't forget to click the bell icon as well so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Okay, so onto the car. So here we have my Misano red Audi S4 Avant of the B8 generation. Now this is actually a facelift car, otherwise known or referred to as the B8.5, and the key difference is the way to spot. In fact, the B8.5 from the earlier B8 generation is from the front. That's the most obvious difference. The earlier cars did have a very square shaped headlamp with a sort of dashed LEDs along the bottom as daytime running lights. As you can see, this is a more shaped and styled headlamp design with the solid daytime running light signature running around the outside of the headlamp and only broken by the headlamp bulb there. This would also have a revised single frame grille and front bumper, and that's the best way to tell the difference between a B8 and a B8.5 vehicle. This car is also a black edition vehicle. The black edition cars come with some upgrades over and above the base S4 models, most notably what Audi now call black optics package, which basically entails replacing the bright aluminium accents with black accents. So as you can see here, for example, the window surrounds here on the vehicle are all in black, whereas they would typically be in bright aluminium on the base car, as are the roof rails. These are finished in black as opposed to bright aluminium. However, Audi did retain the typical S and RS bright aluminium door mirror caps. As we move around to the front of the car, you can see that the black edition features continue with the single frame grille and the four-ringed Audi badge, which is also finished in black. On the base S4, this would be finished in bright aluminium, and would be these bars going across the front of the grille itself. You will notice, however, that the S4 designation has actually remained finished in chrome. Now, I do believe that Audi in later cars, they offered what's called a black badge package, and that would see this designation also finished in black. As we move around the car, a further black edition upgrade are the wheels. They would typically be 18-inch alloy wheels, typically finished in silver. But these are the 19-inch split V-spoke alloy wheels, typically fitted to the RS4, and these are finished in black. Now, I don't actually know if that's an option Audi offered or if the wheels were painted separately by the previous owner had them painted separately in black. If you know the answer to that question, please do feel free to mention it in the comments below this video. Now, this car does actually have privacy glass to the rear. It's probably not so clear from this angle. I'll move around to the other side and see if that's a bit more obvious. Yeah, there you can see privacy glass to the rear, and I actually find that the Misano red contrasting with the black accents on the car look a lot more sporty, in my opinion, than the base S4 model with the bright aluminium accents. Anyway, as we move to the back of the car, we can see that the badge work continues in the same vein as the front. So you have the black Audi 4-ring logo but the chrome S4 designation. And lower down in the rear valance, you'll see here, this I think would typically be finished in grey on the base car, but is finished in black on the black edition car. Now, one feature that I absolutely am delighted to have and would have wanted on whatever car I purchase next is this one. Superb, an electronic tailgate. No more boot slamming by ham-fisted buffoons. Now, whilst we're at the back of the car, you can see the boot space. It's actually a reasonable sized boot, although not quite as big as my my Passat estate. That's about 10 centimeters deeper and I believe 3 centimeters wider. Although the Passat is VW's equivalent to the A4, it is a slightly bigger car, both in terms of load space with the seats up and inside the car in terms of legroom. But this boot is big enough, I think, for a family of 4 to go on holiday for a couple of weeks without having to use a roof box. Obviously, typically, like most estate cars, the rear bench will fold down, although not completely flat like this in Passat, but they will fold down and give you enough space to do typical estate things. The seats do split fold 60/40, and there is obviously a pass-through ski hatch here for long thing items such as, well, skis, to be honest. Now, as you saw, this boot can be opened with the key. It can also be opened, if I can close it again, I'll show you now, by pressing the button just underneath the hatch there, or with a button on the inside of the driver's door. The only way to close this boot, however, is by pressing this button here. However, or in actual fact, that's not strictly true, because if you forget that you've actually got a power tailgate, if you do try to close the boot normally with your hand, you will feel a little bit of resistance, and then the electronics will take over and close the boot for you. So basically, yeah, there's several ways to open the boot and close the boot on this car. Now, this car, I believe, is stock, or this is what I've been told, with a couple of exceptions. The most keen viewers among you will have probably noticed that, as opposed to the typical slightly smaller and oval shaped quad tailpipes finished with a bright aluminium or chrome trim, I think it's aluminium, this car actually has larger round tailpipes, and that's because the previous owner had fitted a catback HG Motorsport Bull X exhaust. As you can see, the logo there, Bull X, and they're actually finished with carbon fiber style tips there. And I actually find that this gives the car a slightly deeper engine note than the stock exhaust. Now, the other modification that you can't actually see is that this car has a flex fuel map, which basically means that it can run on bioethanol or either of the 95 or 98 unleaded fuels. Now, what I'll do actually, whilst we're talking about the engine, is I will open the engine bay for you so you can see that. So we're going to lift the bonnet here. Okay, so this car is actually powered by a supercharged version of Audi's 3 litre V6 TFSi engine. That's your supercharger sitting right there on the top. And in standard form, stock form, this car would produce 333 metric horsepower and 440 newton meters of torque. For those of you that work in imperial measurements, I believe that'd be something like 329 brake horsepower and 325 pounds-feet of torque. However, as this car can run on bioethanol, which is known to make more power than typical unleaded, there's a good chance that this car is probably producing a little bit more power than that. And As always, Audi, like a lot of the German manufacturers, have conservative figures, and their cars often come off the production line producing a little more power than they would typically. So that's the engine bay for you. Now we're going to move on to the inside of the car. Okay, so moving on to the interior of the car. The most obvious thing you see and that you're greeted with are the black and silver Audi S Sport seats. These are fully electrically adjustable seats, and they are heated. And as you see in the rear of the seat back, you have the embossed S4 logo there. Hopefully the sunlight is not causing too much problem and you can see it clearly on the seat. Now, whilst we're on the subject of the embossed logo in the seat backs, typically on the B8.5 models the S4 logo is not there. However, on the earlier B8 models you did have the S4 logo embossed in the seat backs. Audi decided not to do that with the later cars. I don't know if that's a cost-cutting measure or otherwise, and whilst we're on the subject of the S4 logo, there's no mistaking that this is an S4. S4 is plastered pretty much everywhere around the car. As you've already seen it on the exterior, you've seen it on the seat, on the door sills here, both front and rear. There is the S4 logo. As you get in and sit down in the car, you can see the S4 logo exists here on the flat bottom steering wheel. On the gauge cluster in the rev counter, you can see it's a detailed S4 there. The S4 logo also exists here on the gear selector. Now this is actually the 7-speed S-tronic dual clutch gearbox. It was also offered with a 6-speed manual gearbox. And there is another place where you'll find S4 that you don't see straight away, but if I turn the ignition on, I'm going to shut the door because it's going to start beeping at me. Okay, when the multimedia interface starts to run through its setup, the S4 logo does appear in the 17-inch screen. I'm going to switch off the aircon for the moment so there's no other noise. Okay, other features in here are the carbon fibre inserts in the doors, front and rear. There is a section also on the dashboard here with the Quattro badge inset in it, and around the center console here it's finished in carbon fibre. Obviously there are still aluminium touches on the gear selector and around it, also on the multimedia interface controls, the buttons here, and as you can see the door handles are finished in aluminium as well. Now there is another feature that I believe is relevant to the Black Edition cars, and that is the Bang & Olufsen 14 speaker 505 watt I believe sound system. It's got a subwoofer in the boot underneath the spare wheel. What else can I show you in here? Obviously the headline, and I like the finish of the headline. It is a nice soft material with a nice sort of grain to it, and that flows all the way down the A pillar, B pillar, C and D pillars. In overall it's a very nicely finished interior. It's the place that I'm finding is very nice to spend time in, and I'm finding very many excuses to get out and drive this car, just to be in it, and obviously for the way it drives. Okay, so that was a very brief overview of my new car. There will be future videos to come. I'm a bit of a petrol head. I do like my tuning and modifications, so there will be videos covering those subjects. Spoiler alert, the very first mod is actually on its way already. I will be uploading a video revealing what that is. I'm obviously not going to tell you what it is right now, So I'm once again going to invite you to stay tuned to the channel by subscribing, and remember to click the bell icon so you'll be notified when that reveal is uploaded on YouTube. For now, it just remains for me to thank you very much for watching the video. It is a first for me, so hopefully I'll be able to improve my my skills and present better videos as we go along. But for now, I'd just like to thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you on the next one. Bye for now.